to Kingdome Come Deliverance and an introduction to this playthrough. I bought Kingdome Come Deliverance back when it was released in 2018. I was expecting a Skyrim-like open world RPG in some kind of a medieval skin. And I think I skipped through maybe 50 dialogues to get to the actual combat. And when I got to the combat, I was forced to lock on target against multiple enemies. And when I didn't get one-shotted by a big club or hit in the back and killed by someone I didn't even see, the game just crashed. So I quit after a week, or maybe 10 days. Now, in 2026, 8 years later, I saw the release of Kingdome Come Deliverance 2 a year ago, and we got a stability and bug fixing update 1.9.7 about a month ago, maybe a bit more. So I decided it's time to return and try the game again, but with a new set of expectations. I've been checking the Steam page, and that's actually quite different to what I thought I had read the first time. Or maybe they changed it. This is a story-driven open world RPG that immerses you in an epic adventure in the Holy Roman Empire. Avenge your parents' deaths as you battle invading forces, go on the game-changing quests, and make influential choices. Explore castles, forests, villages, and other realistic settings in medieval Bohemia. What I remembered was the part battle invading forces, but this time I actually read the whole thing. So beside the lock-on combat that is most likely still there, I also expect to invest myself in the story, learn about the history and the game, and we will continue with learning more about the game from the Wikipedia article. So I won't read the whole thing. It says a few things about the developers and the publisher and such things. But it also tells what actually happened when it was released. The game received generally positive feedback reviews for PC, but mixed reviews for consoles. It was praised for the story, the characters, but the reviews were divided over its attention to detail and focus on realism. It was criticized for its technical bugs and save systems. Some commentators, historians, and scholars criticized the game's portrayal of some ethnic groups, as well as the game's lack of racial diversity. But it also sold over 10 millions until last year, when the second game in the series was released. So I thought that was interesting, and I wanted to see more about the gameplay and what would I actually be setting myself into when joining this world. So we are still in an action role-playing video game in an open world environment, and it's played from a first-person perspective. It utilizes a classless role-playing system, allowing the player to customize their skills to take on roles such as warrior, bard, thief, or a hybrid of these. Abilities and stats grow depending on what the player does and says through branched dialogue trees. During conversations, the time a player takes to make a decision is limited and has an effect on their relationships with others. Reputation is based on choices and therefore can bring consequences. Character bodies and faces are created through the combination of multiple individual pieces with finishing touches. The clothing system features 16 item slots and items on many areas of the body that can be layered. For example, a heavily armored knight may on his upper body wear a gambeson, followed by a mail and a plate armor, with a tabard or surcoat over the top for a total of 4 clothing items in the chest slot. Each clothing type provides a different level of protection against different type of weapons. Clothing also gets progressively more worn, dirty, or bloody through use, affecting the character's appearance. The player is able to use a variety of weapons, including swords, knives, axes, hammers, and bows. Horses are featured heavily in the game and are designed to act with their own AI, while under the player's control, moving or jumping to avoid small obstacles or dangers. The player can also fight from the horseback and use their steed to carry items if they need additional inventory space. But warhorses are also competent combatants with their own AI. Steeds come with 5 slots for armor and attachments. Kingdome Come Deliverance also features a neat system which requires the player to sleep and eat in order to stay healthy. Equipment and clothing also degrade and require repair. Foodstuffs and other perishable items will spoil over time. The game issues skill stat-based minigames for many of these tasks, including weapon and armor repair, as well as gathering new items by picking locks or pockets, distilling alcohol, or creating medicine. The game uses a long and short-ranged weapons in short. No. The game uses long and short-ranged weapons in combat, which is based on physics systems in using inverse kinematics to determine the reactions of both combatants based on the speed and weight of a blow. This system aims to add greater variety and realism to the combat, coupled with a variety of basic combat moves and combination moves, some of which can be unlocked by skill points. Different weapons have different characteristics, making them useful for different purposes. For example, a sword is a quick weapon for striking and parrying, but it is not very effective against heavy armor. Quests are intended to be non-linear, with multiple ways to complete objectives such as multiple characters types to be viable. The storyline features some large-scale events, such as castle sieges and large battles. Every non-player character has a daily routine, and every routine can be affected by the player. Characters are able to react to all player actions and adjust their routines to them. NPCs will report crimes to authorities, who will punish the player accordingly, either with a fine or time in jail. Crime will affect economics, and people will get suspicious or aggressive after unresolved crimes. So there we have some basics of the game. More complex and including a lot more stuff than I remembered and that I ever got into first time I tried the game. So instead of expecting a smooth combat experience, skipping dialogues and all those things, I expect to follow along with Henry and his story at the same time as I learn about the game and the history. So I think we better stay a while and listen and read and invest ourselves for the long one. If you're expecting a speedrun, I don't think you would be along us anymore though. I'm streaming this on Twitch, but I want it to be more of an immersive experience for all of us. So I won't do much, if any, direct communication during the streams, even though I will read your messages. The format should be more suitable for YouTube if you want to follow along with the story and this playthrough specifically. I guess the daytime job and real-time life commitments will dictate the game opportunities and the pace forward. Now, let's get into the game and let's set things up. We have some game settings, English, dialogue, chatter, tutorials, everything is on. Graphics. Vertical field of view. If you have an idea or if you think we should change this for a better experience, please say so. I don't really have any experience with or know what would be a good vertical field of view. Advanced graphic options. I think we skip these, right? You'll probably find all of them.
Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, veniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas
I think the sound is fine.
Sicut in cielo et
It's
in
about
terra.
the same.
Panem nostrum super
Same volume as myself.
hodie, et dimite nobis debita nostra.
We can tweak this
Sicut et nos
later.
dimissimus debitoribus nostris, et ne inducas
Controls, UI control detection. Gamepad keyboard. We won't using gamepad, so we could set that from the beginning. Invert things. Let's try it like it is. ADW. Oh, yeah, WASD. Just in a bit of a different order. Let's see, skip dialogue, movement, jump, sprint, jump space, skip dialogue space. We better not jump when talking to someone then. Crouch, C. We'll have to learn these all over again. I think we have to learn them a couple of times, probably. Caps is run. Companions, X. Rotate. K and L. Not sure what that could be. Combat, left. Primary and secondary attacks. Stop the attack. E. Lock on opponent tab. Special attacks, F. Block Q. Okay, block Q. Draw weapons 1 and 2. Next opponent, scroll wheel. Unlock target, mouse 3. That could be a problem. That's probably the mouse wheel. Maybe. We may set this differently as the time goes, if needed. Inventory I, that sounds good. Player tab P. Just gonna reduce these a little bit. Horse B. We need a name on the horse to remember the B, I think. Quest log J, journal, fine, map M. Center map mouse 3 again. Codex N. We probably go in there a lot of times. Not sure I ever seen it though. Codex. Cycle tabs, toggle info, others. Eye tracking screenshot. Minigame actions. Alchemy bench. I think we learn this as we go. Save changes, yes. Sound controls, EULA. Let's skip that just for now. That was the settings. Let's see, help. Is this the same all over again? Right, climb, space, call mount X. I don't remember that one. Maybe I already forgot. Interact, menu, skip. You got more skip options. Slash, shoot, jab, stab, hook. Okay, so we got some more explanation. First mouse button is a slashing movement, and the right one is a stab one, or possibly a hook if we're unarmed. Block, parry, kick, kicking fist fight. There's a lot to learn here, definitely. Surrender, lock target, switch target, cancel, strike. Seems like the same. Okay. No, wait. We have 19 more pages. Never mind. Okay, learn the symbols. The money symbol indicates you're in an area for a crime and what penalty you face. Fine or jail. Let's see. I'm trying to set the volume to be suitable for both me and you. Let's see how that goes. A. We got a shield on some sort of a compass. The compass is your basic guide to the world. It shows you waypoints for the completing of quests, places of interest nearby. Oh, reading is so hard. It shows you waypoints for completing quests, places of interest nearby, and points you select on the map. You can set what you want to be shown on the minimap. No. You can set what you want to be shown on it in the map, M, by going to the settings queue. The more distant you are from a place, the smaller and more translucent will its icon be. The language is a bit special as well. Bear with me. Icons notifying you of various effects, whether bad, like wounds, bleeding, tiredness or hunger, or good, like increased charisma, effects of potions, and the launch of a perk. We could assume this is sleepy, perhaps? And what could this be? Tiredness, increased charisma? Maybe? Health. Red indicator, and stamina, yellow indicator. Beware, your maximum stamina is limited not only by health, but also by hunger and tiredness. Maximum stamina is limited not only by health, but also by hunger and tiredness. So health also affects the stamina, that is also affected by hunger and tiredness. But if I don't remember completely wrong, stamina is also kind of life. You can use your strength or stamina to take blows, and when the stamina is gone, you lose health. So they affect each other, and if one gets lower, both gets lower, and everything gets harder. So we better keep our health and stamina in good shape. Let's see, we have combat symbols, indicates you are in combat or someone is pursuing you. Notification that you're in the vicinity, what you're searching for. Is the text that hard or can't I read? Notification that you're in the vicinity of what you're searching for. I think we both can improve, both me and the game probably. Indicates you're trespassing. So basically, walking legs with a cross indicates we are trespassing. Right. Okay. That's 2. Let's go to 3. You reached a new level in Warfare. HUD. Notifies you of any changes in your characteristics or skills. Detailed information can then be seen in the Player tab by hitting P. P Player. Okay. Notification that you're accepted. Made progress in or carried out a task. Details can then be found in the quest tabs J. Journal. This is an exclamation mark. Objective started, scout the area. Right. You have discovered blacksmith symbol or box. If you discover an important new place in the world or a new gameplay situation, you will be notified here. You can then find detailed information in the codex. Miscellaneous important tips. You don't have enough money. Oh, that will probably be a recurring theme, doesn't it? Here you will be notified that someone gave you or got from you an item during the dialogue. You got 3 savior schnapps. Okay. That's why we got drunk and that's why we don't have any money. Here you are shown how you can interact with people nearby. If the person is important, you will see his or her name. villager, talk, or pickpocket. Let's see, page 4. Combat. I think it's good we are reading these over and over again. Left mouse button slash the strong attack, slower strike with weapon. Or hook, a strong and slower hand strike to the head, unarmed combat. Stab, right button, faster, weaker weapon strike. Jab, direct hand blow to the face. F. And now in Simulator I'm clicking on the keyboard to remember where F is. Kicks opponent away, unarmed combat. I'm trying to find a word for kicks that start with F to remember it, but I can't really find one. Front kick. Maybe. Tab. Lock on opponent. Switch to next opponent. That's fairly close by. And that's actually the tab's usual function anyway. Left shift. Unlock. And Q block. Opponent. This indicator shows roughly how much health your opponent has left. The more wounded he is, the slower he will attack and react. When the end is near, he may either try to flee or surrender. And his bar is so much smaller than ours, so that will be a bit hard to see. Like in the real life, you can't really see at every move how fatigued or hurt the enemy is. Icons that notify when or where you're wounded and if you're bleeding. Your wounds. I think we see a bleeding foot. But nevertheless, icons notify where you're wounded and if you are bleeding. So I guess the bleeding symbol is the added one if we're bleeding then. And now to the tough part that I never really got into and understood last time. We are choosing directions when we are attacking by moving the mouse up and down and left and right. And we got 5 different directions. Top, top left, top right, and bottom left, bottom right. You can't attack from a grayed out direction. Okay. That's good to know as well. Stamina. If an opponent's strike hits your armor or your block, it will cost you stamina. When your stamina is completely depleted, you won't be able to defend yourself and will be wounded. Attacking will also deplete your stamina, especially when wielding a heavy weapon. Health. If you cover yourself badly and your armor is weak, strikes will wound you. Heavy wounds will lead to bleeding, and bleeding will lead to death. The more your health is depleted, the lower your maximum stamina. This is really complex. Combat Advanced. I'm not sure we are there, but it's good to know where we could go at some point. The basics of every combat system is movement, rapid reactions, a correct timing. If you master these 3 things, you will rule the combat arena. Okay, movement, rapid reactions, correct timing. Directed strikes. You can slash with your weapon from any of 5 directions using the arrows, your mouse basically. Stabbing can be aimed at the face, that's the top one, or the body, left, right, bottom right, and the middle one. Okay, so there is basically 6 directions. And I would assume body in the middle and face to top them. If stabbing, maybe. An opponent will less effectively block strikes to the side where he's not holding his sword or shield. After each strike, The attack zone changes to the next one in line, but you can attack from a different side by changing the direction before finishing the strike. You can attack from a different side by changing the direction before finishing the strike. Okay, so I can maybe start an attack, then change direction if I do it fast enough. Not sure I understand that correctly. We'll definitely have to train this. I mean, you probably have 10 years of experience practicing with 3 swords when you're in your teens. Wounds. Each blow will wound the body part it lands on, depending on the armor protecting it. Each strike involves 2 forces. The primary one, depending on the type of weapon and the strike, slash or stab, and the second, the physical blow, blunt. The weapon description will tell you the strength that the sword, axe, or other weapon has in the given category. Sharp weapons, slashing and stabbing, are best against weak and no armor, while chainmail is resistant to such weapon and plate armor is near impossible to cut or stab through. The best weapons against these are heavy blunt weapons such as maces, warhammers, and axes. Timing and perfect blocks. Timing is an important part of the combat. You can hold a block and fend off standard strikes, but it will cost you a lot of stamina and you will be letting your opponent take the initiative. Try pressing Q right into the opponent's strike just when the green shield lights up. That's the perfect block. Okay, we have to learn that one. Maybe I should put that block somewhere else but on the keyboard, on the mouse maybe. So if I'm trying to move or strafing and pressing a lot of buttons already, maybe this is hard to get done fast. But we'll have to practice. After perfect block, you can riposte with left or right mouse button. A riposte in turn can only be fended off by a perfect block. A perfect block costs you no stamina. You can chain perfect blocks and ripostes one after the other until landing a blow. So a good combat would be waiting for the combatant on the other side to do something. We try a perfect block and then hit, and then wait, block, hit. That do sound realistic enough though. Advanced combat. Move around a lot. Standing still will make you an easy target. Attack from the side your opponent least expect. If his sword has to pass through a long swing, he has lesser chance of a perfect block. Combo is a sequence of strikes, chained one after another. The next attack comes right after the previous one lands or is blocked. You can learn special techniques that you can call up by the correct sequence of strikes. Combos. Maybe that's after the first week of playing the game, I guess. We can try to maybe get some combos in. The perfect block would be really good to learn though. Feint is a strike from a direction the opponent wasn't expecting. Draw back, but don't attack. Quickly change zone and release the attack. You will slash at a different place than your opponent was expecting. A feint can only be fended off by a perfect block. Draw back, wait, change zone, release. So we have to learn the drawback. We can't just keep pressing the attack button. I see the learning curve. Dodge is stepping aside by moving to the side or back just at the moment you could otherwise use a perfect block. Stepping aside, moving sideways or backwards just the moment you should otherwise use a perfect block. Dodge and perfect block work against any attack from the front. If you're fighting with one opponent and another one attacks, you can use a perfect block to stop the first and aim the riposte at the second. We'll see if we could ever make that work. You can call your horse anytime by whistling and then mount it. That's X. Movement WA is D. Trot is the horse's basic pace. Walk gives your horse a chance to recover. Caps. W plus left shift. Canter ideally combines a faster pace with the horse's endurance. And W and left shift twice. Gallop is the fastest gait, but it will soon deplete your horse's stamina. Following a path. Left shift. Your horse is smarter than some people and will stick to the path you're on if you give him his head. Just begin cantering and don't steer him. Okay. That sounds easy enough. That's the easiest part so far. Your horse's stamina indicator. It will deplete when galloping. If you try to push your horse when its stamina is low, it may throw you. Right. Let's try to avoid that part. Galloping can be exhausting and can deplete your stamina too, especially if you're not an experienced horseman. Yeah, we're not. Either in game and in real life. Haggling works both ways, whether you want to buy sheep or sell deer. Poaching. You select the amount you want to pay or get W and S and confirm with E. Wait, you select the amount you want to pay or get W and S and confirm with E. I don't get it. Maybe we can figure it out when we're there. The answer is, if the answer is a refusal, he or she will make a counter offer and wait for your response. So my money, original purchase price, trader's last offer, and your current offer. Your last offer not accepted. So we have to go somewhere in between. Okay. And how bad is it if we fail? Is it even worth, if we want to go back and we do stupid haggle, do we keep buying from us? Or do he get angry maybe? Haggling. If the slider can't be moved in one direction or the other, it means either you or the trader does not have enough money. Right. Last bid. My bid. No? Let's see, let's get back. We had my current offer and trader's offer. Last offer not accepted, 5. Last offer not accepted, my bid, merchant's bid. So he refused 5. We have only 4 gold. He says 10. So I guess this haggle wouldn't work. Or would it? No. I'm not sure. Dragging out the haggling with one offer after another will greatly try the trader's patience, and eventually they'll drop the haggling completely. You can see how close you're getting to that point from the trader's icon below the bar. The more gold there is in the background, the closer the trader is to dropping the haggling. Every unsuccessful bout or haggling lowers your reputation with the trader. That's what I was going for. So maybe we rather don't do really bad haggling to get the extra money if we're going back there. Better try to be nice and maybe we get the better deals anyway. Maybe. Persuasion. Sometimes you need powers or persuasion to achieve your goals. When talking to people, you can often choose what kind of impression you want to make of them. On them, even. You can simply use speech, which, however, is influenced by the reputation you have at the moment with the person you're talking to. In the Middle Ages, social status was paramount, so the quality of your attire and how well groomed you are, together with your reputation, can make a big difference to how people respond to you. That doesn't sound too different from today. I guess we're still people after all. If you look dangerous, people will be afraid to cross you and will also be more willing to assign risky tasks to you. That's influenced mainly by your strength and the deterrent effect of your weapons and equipment, but other things are also taken into account, such as bloodstains on your clothes. So we could get more dangerous tasks if we keep some bloody clothes with us, maybe, if that's what we want to do. You can sometimes rely on money to do the talking for you. You just have to agree on a persuasive sum. Bribing people works in the same way as shopping, sea trade and haggling. In special cases, you can try any other skill, for example horsemanship. In special cases. Okay. We will see those dialogue options when they appear. It's not only the manner of persuasion that's important, but also the specific offer. Because sometimes it's not enough to just choose according to your highest characteristics, you have to really read what you're going to say. That's the intention. We're actually going to do the dialogue and we're actually going to read what they say. And maybe even spend a few seconds thinking what every option imply. And what Henry actually would like to say. I would say he's pretty young, and by the story, or as the story goes, he will develop and he could change too. So maybe he wouldn't say the same thing in the beginning of the game as later. But that also depends on what actually happens. Can we keep up an honorable pursuit? Or do we fail and have to resort to stealing to be alive? Then that could also change the dialogue options, I suppose. Do we meet someone that has been good to us, or do we meet someone that killed our parents? So we'll see to where we go as the game progresses. Persuasion. But different approaches work on different people. You won't intimidate a tough brawler easily, and no matter how well you dress, you won't impress the nobility easily. That's because Henry's abilities aren't simply assigned to a universal value, but compared with the abilities of his counterpart. You can see the values of the various abilities in the game under the corresponding icons. You can always see your own abilities. Your counterpart's abilities are visible to you if it's someone you know well, or if you're skilled at reading people. Learn the perk Empathetic. Your money 55, the amount you have to pay 17. It's not just about stats though. The outcome is influenced by other factors, like your reputation, whether you're dirty or bleeding, if you can't outdo the nimble tongue of a merchant, for example. You may want to poison him a little first and then he will be easier to persuade. Or if you lead a guard away from his friends, he'll be easier to scare. We don't want to go poisoning merchants. I don't think that's the right way to go. Let's keep the honor above poisoning merchants, shall we? The level of your reputation with your counterpart. Now, we have speech level 3, we have charisma level 7, and strength level 2. The guard has strength 3, so he's stronger than us. He has a lower charisma level with 5, and we don't know his speech level. And our reputation seems to be really bad because he's really, really angry and red. Okay. Lockpicking. In order to pick locks, you must have at least one lockpick in your inventory. Although it's better to have 1 or 2 spares since they get worn with use and in worst case can break. You start the actual lockpicking process by holding E on the lock. You will then see a diagram of the lock mechanism in which you will have to find the right spot to insert the lockpick. Then you will have to use the lockpick D to turn the whole lock mechanism. Let's see, we have E and we have D. Those are not super easy to press at the same time though. Okay, E and D. Use lockpick E, hold D, turn the whole lock mechanism. At the same time, you have to coordinate the movement of the lockpick with the rotation of the mechanism, because the rotation shifts the position of the sweet spot. I can't say I understand exactly what that means. We'll have to practice, as with everything else. How close you are to the sweet spot is indicated by the size of the cursor, and it turns gold when you find it. If you try to turn the mechanism without having the lockpick in the correct position, the mechanism will streak, which will damage the lockpick or even break it. Any damage to the lockpick will produce a noise, which can draw unwanted attention, and breaking it will cause an even louder snap. Okay. So any failing, more or less any lockpicking could make damage and people would hear it. Yeah, let's avoid lockpicking if we can, huh? Pickpocketing. Picking pockets is no joking matter. If you're caught with your fingers in someone else's purse, either by the victim or by a witness, they'll raise the alarm and you'll be pursued as a thief. In order to rob someone successfully, you first have to sneak up on them unnoticed, and then by holding E, begin pickpocketing. The first step is to grope around inside the purse by holding E. That's not easy, especially if your victim is on the move. The longer you can grope, the more time you will then have to select what you want. The longer you can grope, or the longer I actually grope? In order to then steal, you have to exceed the minimum time for grouping, which you will recognize by the background of the rows changing color from red to green. The minimum time for grouping. Okay, so it turns green, then we have reached the minimum time, and then we can actually pickpocket something. The amount of time you have left for the second stage of stealing is shown by the number in the middle of the rosette. Keep a close eye on the color of the rosette. When it's light green, your victim has no chance of catching you, but as it starts to get darker and turn red, your chance of getting caught in the act increase. Pickpocketing ain't easy. As it started, pickpocketing is no joking matter. Okay. Pickpocketing continued. Here you dipped your hands into someone's purse, and you have to get it out with the loot before your time is up and you're caught. Now, okay, the place where you are stealing, yellow circle. No, we start at the door. This is where we are stealing. And let's say we move this way. Here is some item you have cropped out. You can find out what it is using E. Oh, so we have to spend time identifying it too. Okay. Then by pressing E again, you can steal it. If you're an experienced pickpocket and an expert on items, you fully learn the item expert perk. You can also see the properties of the stolen item. Number 1, money 23. Maybe the key's worth 23 gold. And health 100, shield. Unsure about the properties. The item you have just stolen. Completely yellow. The time that remains before you're caught, 23. You determined how long it is by the time you spend grouping. The time you lose if you decide to steal the item in question depends mainly on the weight of the item. So I will be caught faster the heavier item I steal. Right? Okay. Continuing on. 15. Alchemy. Alchemy is a useful skill that transforms herbs and other ingredients into potions and remedies. In order to brew those, you need the knowledge of the alchemy, a recipe, an alchemist bench, and the necessary ingredients. In the alchemist lab, you will find on the right side of a bench a herbarium, which lists all the properties of herbs and all the recipes you have so far learned. You open it with E, and using Q turns the pages to the recipe or plant description you want. It's always best to follow the recipe in the book. By holding E on the recipe, you can also set all the necessary ingredients straight onto the alchemy bench. This sounds complicated and we haven't even started yet. The degree of difficulty of the brewing itself varies, and each recipe requires a variable number of steps. The first step is always to pour the potion base, which you will find on the shelf on your left. Then you add the ingredients to the cauldron from the shelf on the right. If the recipe demands it, you must take care to grind ingredients using the mortar and pestle. You can use the dish next to the mortar and pestle to prepare these ingredients. I hope the book tells me these things. Alchemy continued. The next step is to brew the mixture on the prescribed flame, which is regulated by the means of the bellows. Sometimes it's enough just to warm it on a low heat, sometimes it has to be boiled, so you have to work the bellows until the mixture bubbles. The bellows. The recipe steps must be adhered to precisely. If you deviate too much from them, the potion will fail. You will lose all your ingredients and the whole brewing process will have to be repeated. You must carefully time how long you brew the potion using the sand glass. F. The brewed potion can then be poured directly from the cauldron into the vial or pass through the distiller. Okay, that's alchemy. Now, owning. If you want to maintain bladed weapons, you can save your repair kit and own it yourself on a grindstone, which you can find at every smithy. Just approach the grindstone, start the process E, and select from the list which weapon you want to own. The weapon must be owned along the whole length of the blade. You select which part using your mouse left and right. So we have a sword and we have sparks and the grindstone. We can move the sword left and right, and we can turn it around, I guess. Or just put it at another angle. Or maybe both. The blade must be held at the correct angle to the grindstone. If the angle is too shallow, the edge won't be sharpened. If it's too steep, you can dull the blade. You control the angle using mouse up and down. You have to keep the grindstone turning using space. You must also exert the correct pressure to make sure you own the edge at all. Pressing also depletes your stamina. To press, use mouse wheel, and to release, use mouse wheel in the other direction. You must exert the correct pressure. Okay. You can recognize correct owning by flying sparks, whereas black smoke coming from under the blade tells you you're damaging it. A well-owned blade is smooth and shiny. Smooth and shiny. Okay. I think we need to train on this as well. Maybe we can find some cheaper blade to start the owning skills before we actually use it on a good and nice blade. Wonder how many times you can do it before the blade breaks. Until there's no blade left. Let's see, 19 dice. Oh, this is the most text we had so far. If you want to try your hand at gambling, it's possible to play the dice game of Farkle in every respectable tavern. The goal of this two-player game is to be the first to reach a certain number of points. 6 dice are thrown and the players alternate turns. Points are gained for every 1 or 5 thrown, and for 3 or more of a kind of any other number. Scoring is as follows. A 1 is 100 points, a 5 is 50 points. 3 of a kind is worth 100 points multiplied by the given number. So 3 4s is worth 400 and 3 1s is worth 1000. So it's multiplied by 1000, not by 100. Never mind. 4 or more of a kind is worth double the points of 3 of a kind. So 4 4s is worth 800. 5 4s is worth 1600 points. And 1 through 6 is worth 1500, 1 through 5 is worth 500, and 2 to 6 is worth 750. Now, the target number of points you have to get, total out of 5000. The points you gain so far, 3500. Subtotal for the round, 1200. And total value of the dice just marked, 500. A player's turn always begins by throwing all 6 dice. The player then uses E to select and set aside scoring dice, and at least 1 die must always be set aside. Then the player can throw the remaining dice again using F, and the situation repeats. Scoring combinations are counted for present throw, not the entire run. Scoring combinations are counted for present throw. So if you get 3 4s and then we get another one, we can't add it up to 4. That's how I interpreted this. The key element of the game is that if a throw does not produce a single scoring die, then the player's turn is over and all points gained up to that point during the turn are lost. Oh, that's not good. It is then the opposing player's turn to throw. Therefore, it is advisable to end your turn using Q before there is a significant increase in the chance that not a single die will score. It is also often worth not removing all scoring dice so that you will have a better chance of scoring higher on the next throw. So if I get a 5 and a 1, maybe I keep the 1 but throw the 5 again to maybe get a 1. Maybe. And since every player throws his own dice, there is also an opportunity to cheat, of course, but it is more difficult to find loaded dice. Loaded dice, okay. The Devil's Head is a set of dice with a joker instead of the 1, which acts as a wild number in combination with any other number. Joker 1/1 is worth 1000 points. A joker on its own, though, the joker has no value, so if all the dice thrown are jokers, the players busts. Huh. This seems to be the most complicated part along with combat, I think. Oh, and the last page, Dog. From this moment on, you have a canine companion. He's your best friend who will protect and help you, but you must take care of him, good care of him even. You can talk to him and feed him, ideally with meat, give him commands, and reward him with praise. With the cursor you can give him all sorts of commands using X. For example, heal. You also have the new skill of Houndmaster. It determines how well your dog is trained and what commands you taught him. You gain experience by using the commands and other interactions with your four-legged friend. In the Sidekicks tab, you can see the stats, the most important of which is obedience. It tells you whether your dog obeys you or not. Its level will keep falling with every injury, and also if you neglect your dog for a long time. If obedience falls too low, your dog will stop heeding some of your commands. If it falls to 0, your dog will run off, and it will take some time before he comes back to you. During that time, you won't be able to give him commands. The higher his obedience, the better stats the dog has. He will defend himself and you better, cause greater damage to foes, and it will take longer before he decides to run off again. You can improve your dog's obedience mainly by feeding and praising him, but doing it several times in succession over a short period is less effective than feeding and praising him irregularly. Sounds very reasonable. Right. So I think we are ready to get in the game. That's an hour before we even started. I would take a little of I will take a little break and be back shortly, and then we will actually start the game. All right? See you in a little while. Take care. Bye bye.